Good morning, Twyla.
Good morning, Al. How are you today?
I'm fit as a fiddle. If I any better, I'd be twins. Yes.
Are we filming this from Maui?
No, did you want to?
Well, I feel like we want...
Is it in the budget?
No, not yet. Keep sending us money, though. That'll get us to Maui.
Right.
I'm just in a Maui mood. I like the sunshine, the ocean, and I'm in a Maui mood.
All
Okay.
right, so tell me, what did you do that was positive this week?
My positive for the week was pruning trees.
Really?
Yes, my grandson and I went out. Let me just preface this. Never ask me to cut your hair, okay? Because you will become bald. My daughter said, Mom, you've turned our beautiful trees into bonsai. Okay, because I got a little clipper happy. You know?
They'll grow out.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought too. But I had a blast. So we were pruning trees, and my grandson kept saying, I love this, I had to write this down. Grandma, we are just two gardeners working hard in the garden.
How old is your grandson?
2.5.
Oh my goodness.
He'll be 3 in July. Okay, I know I talk about him, but that's always a positive.
That's all right. That's what grandparents do.
Yes. Why? So what was your positive?
Well, interesting. Yours was pruning. Dottie wanted me to remove a lemon tree from a big wine barrel.
Okay, yes.
And I had made that wine barrel. I cut a wine barrel in half. I used to make wine. I think I mentioned that. Cut it in half, and then I put potting soil in and put the lemon tree. Well, she was never happy with the lemon tree. Well, it was root bound in there, so it was very hard to get out. And this was my positive and my healthy thing.
Together. Okay,
Together.
I'll remember that. Last week I don't think I remember that. Today I will remember
Okay,
that. You
so
got it.
I'm going to tell both of them. So the positive thing was that I actually did it. Got out and I did it. And I came back and I said, Dottie, I am so proud that I disassembled the wine barrel because I didn't, it was rotten and we couldn't reuse it.
Couldn't be stomping grapes in it anymore.
No,
right.
it had
Okay.
big iron red hoops around it that holds it
held it
together.
together,
So
yeah.
I actually cut those all up, put them all in the trash barrel, and I was so proud, that I had the ability and health to do it.
And the strength.
And the
Show them your
tools,
guns.
and the tools and all to do it. So I was very pleased with myself. So that was the healthy and positive thing, all wrapped up in one.
Mixed together. I
Yes.
love that.
And
Okay.
You had a healthy thing?
I had a health benefit.
Okay.
Mine was watching Dr. Newt Wittkowski. Wittkowski. He's a fantastic epidemiologist, and I loved his articles and his YouTubes.
And so we'll can I interrupt you just
Yes,
for a second?
please.
Not only will we put that in the description, I've opened up a new page on the website, which is stayingalive.wfpb.com, and it's links, and it has by episode all the things that we talk about and all the links, so it's very easy to...
He is so techno-organized.
Well,
yes, you are fantastic.
all right.
Thank
So,
you so much.
Go back to what you were saying.
So that was my health thing. I found that extremely interesting. He's very scientific, but very easy to understand, and I thought he had a great take on a lot of things. So
Good.
That's who I liked.
All right.
I hope I didn't botch his name too much. Wittkowski, Wittkowski, but we'll have the links.
That's it.
Okay,
And now is the time that I ask you,
Yes.
what is it that you're wearing on your ears?
Yay! What are they?
Perchance, would that be? It's really
That
hard
would be a Maui pineapple.
Yeah.
And what is on my sweater?
Oh my goodness.
Pineapples.
A little bit of lint there.
A lot of lint, probably, yes. But it's pineapples because I love pineapples. It's my favorite fruit. I once had a boyfriend and he gave me a dog. It was a white Samoyed dog. And I named it Pineapple. Don't ask me how.
Okay.
All my animals have always been named after fruits. I've had a rabbit named Licorice. Anyway.
All right.
Bunny named Cupcake. All right.
Do you think it's time we got to our subject?
Let's, because we have so much. We were going to do this in one episode. Then we started going. Like if you give a mouse a cookie, we start going.
No, we decided before.
Okay, then 2 episodes. And now I'm ready. Let's do 3 or 4 episodes on this same subject because it is so prevalent.
Well,
it is.
yes, it is.
Tell them our subject, Al. Go ahead.
All right, the subject is Alzheimer's. And Alzheimer's affects how many people? It's like the third, they think now it's the third, or the sixth, I should know my statistics.
Leading cause
of death, and they think it's vastly underreported too.
Well, that's it. Just like they're saying sometimes with the coronavirus deaths, they might have padded them.
Yes.
With the Alzheimer's, they might be underreporting because it's something else. Like they'll say, oh, she died from choking.
Well, it could be. You die of a heart attack or something else, because it's, Dr. Eshelson calls it diabetes 3 diabetes.
And yes, we're going to talk about that.
You're going to talk about
and
that.
We're
jumping
going to.
ahead.
No, you're not. Throw it in anytime. So I just want to mention the Alzheimer's solution. Al didn't want to put my book up
Hers
there
has hair on it.
Yeah, he says mine's
clean.
But mine's shown that I've read it. And Al, you gave me this book.
I did.
How many years ago?
I think it was in
When
the
was
fall of, no, not that many, it was in fall of 19.
Okay. I guess that seems like forever.
Well,
seems like April's
your
had
life,
500 days in it.
In your life it is, yes.
Yeah, forever. And at first I resisted. I'm like, oh, I don't want to hear about all the drugs they're going to do. I don't want to hear. It was fantastic. So, I mean, I go back to it. I bought 4 copies to give out to people.
I did too.
Yeah,
I gave a whole bunch away. Yeah.
Okay, yes. So I'm excited at the book, and of course, some of you might know this, that I was so excited about this book and Undo It that I wanted to make my Renaissance class this semester.
Yes.
Highlighting these 2 books. But since my Renaissance class was canceled, I'm so excited about having the opportunity to discuss this book. All right.
June of 2019.
June! Oh, I should have it on my
gave you
calendar.
the book.
Yes,
I looked it up because I ordered it from Amazon.
Okay, thank you for checking that.
All right.
That's not to say that this is the only Alzheimer's book out there.
There's a lot of resources, which again will be on the internet or the description.
Dean Ornish even has some things to say about Alzheimer's.
Just a few.
just a few. Don't worry, I'm not going to read them all, but I do want to read what he said on page 22 as far as the brain goes. In your brain, chronic inflammation and oxidative stress can lead to emotional depression and also to build up plaque and neurofibrillary? F-I-B-R?
That sounds good.
Yeah, in your brain. Over time, this can lead to Alzheimer's disease by short-circuiting the neurons and causing neural degeneration and progressive dementia. Blockages of arteries, reducing blood flow to your brain, can lead to vascular dementia.
Yes.
And
all the doctors say that. Barnard, Eshelson,
yes.
McDougall, and of course the Shiraz.
And what they say, bad heart, bad brain.
That's right. Oh.
So there's not just one diet that's just going to cure this, or one diet that's just... You'll notice there's a trend here. What do you think that trend is, Al?
Whole food, plant-based.
Oh, really? What's in our website here?
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
McDougall talks about in his 10-day course, he gets up there and he says if you have low blood flow to your heart, you're going to have angina. To your brain, you're going to have dementia. To your eyes, you're going to have macular degeneration. Mm-hmm. To your, if you're male, to your penis, you're not going to have an erection. If you have it to your legs, you're going to get leg cramps. If you have it to your, I mean, it's all a function of not getting enough blood to the important body parts.
And I like what you said about the legs. The Sherzai, their website's Team Sherzai.
Yes.
Yes, which will obviously link.
There.
But they also show you practical things you can do, especially to increase your leg strength.
Yes.
Because they're saying it's the legs, so they actually, maybe we should show them 5 squats for the first week, and then every couple of days after, add another squat.
Yeah.
Until all you're doing is squatting up and
They're
down.
really good on the baby steps.
They are so good about that. Yes, so good about that. I just wanted to tell you, when you mentioned type 3 diabetes, this is what Dr. Esselstyn says, is that This form of diabetes is associated with Alzheimer's disease. Type 3 diabetes occurs when neurons in the brain unable to respond to insulin, which is essential for basic tasks, including memory and learning. Some researchers believe insulin deficiency is central to the cognitive decline of Alzheimer's disease. This was in 2017. Alzheimer's disease, a type of progressive dementia that affects more than 5 million Americans, has been found to be strongly linked to diabetes, leading researchers to nickname it type 3 diabetes. And I have the links to I didn't just make that up. This was obviously scientific. By 2050, do you remember that statistic?
No.
By 2050, they're predicting Alzheimer's will affect, guess how many people?
A lot.
A lot is right. 150 million.
Yeah.
That's not just from the Sherzais, that's also from Dr. Lisa Mosconi and other people that we'll talk about in a minute. Okay.
Yeah, and that's another subject, but it's, yes, that, heart disease, all of them, it's a function of what we eat. Listening to somebody talk on the TV about the virus, 50% of the deaths in America have to do with
Lifestyle.
diet.
But okay, I agree.
Or diet related. It's
Diet related,
they don't call
lifestyle.
it a bad diet. They don't dare.
No.
Go ahead.
Well, and I think that's why I don't like to refer to whole food plant-based as a diet. I always like to say
Yes,
lifestyle,
you're
and
right.
those are the things that the Sherzais point out, that Dean Ornish points out, Dr. Greger points that out.
Esselstyn is the only. Never mind. Esselstyn is the only one. He just says, just change your diet. Don't worry about exercise. Don't worry about this. But he only talks to people like me that
are right there,
coronary cripples.
Yes.
So he's not.
Again, another baby step, because he's very energetic. He's always
Yes.
riding his bike and doing a lot of things. So,
Yeah, but the way he lives his style, because
Yes.
he isn't to maintain good health. If you're blessed enough to already have it, then you have to have a lifestyle change, not just a diet. Diet helps, but you got to do the other things, which I'm still learning. Go ahead.
well, I know with so many webinars going on, I was doing a webinar yesterday, and I decided, you know, I just can't sit here for an hour. So I actually got some weights, and I was doing weights. The webinar host goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "I can't sit here for an hour. I feel like I need to do something." So I have my weights, and then I leave off camera, and then I do another weight. She goes, "I think that's a great idea." You know?
Could she see you?
Oh yeah, because we're all on camera. It was Zoom.
Oh.
So we're all on camera.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a Zoom webinar. I would suggest we do that, but I might knock you out. So only my left arm would become strong. I would there he goes. I need my co-host.
Yeah, there are times you want to do that.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
exactly. Only off camera. I want to talk about the economics of it.
Okay.
Can I just mention this?
Yes.
$200 billion a year for treatment of America every year for Alzheimer's. And all those things related. It's our biggest medical and social challenge. I know for whatever reason we've taken something else as our medical challenge, but I hope we put as much energy, and Maria Shriver makes that point too. I hope we put as much energy into Alzheimer's as we have into other things.
Yeah, didn't we talk about something one of our other episodes about how much money is spent? Yeah, that rings a bell. But that's a good subject for an episode. Is the money on all of this? What I'm thinking about is how much money, and they're talking about this now, is how much money is spent supporting the dairy and the meat industry, and none of it is supporting the fresh vegetable industry.
No.
But anyway, that's just digress.
Okay, so let's talk about. Yes, I know. I hear the chimes. That's okay. I hear the chimes. I love, after I watch a webinar or a podcast,
Yes.
some of the suggestions and the comments, I think those are excellent.
Yes. Yeah.
And you can get, which I love, a lot of anecdotal advice, I would say, or just not advice, because we don't get many medical advice, but people telling their story of what changed their life. And I want to just mention this one.
Please.
Turmeric. Turmeric. You've heard of that spice, right?
Are you going to talk about... go ahead.
Okay. So India has a very low rate of Alzheimer's.
Yes.
And they believe it is due to turmeric and the active ingredient in it called curcumin.
Yes.
And so this is a reader. This is someone who's watched the Rich Roll Sherzai podcast. My family has a history of Alzheimer's, as in all women in my mother's side of the family would get it, or dementia, by their 50s. She says, I'm 70 and fine. I was getting forgetful, so I started taking it, and all of a sudden, I could access info I read many decades ago. I won't read you this part, but it says, I also grew a lot of pot. But okay, forget about that. She says, I use it in recipes. Cheap and easy to grow once you get a piece of the root. She grows ginger. Anyway, this woman, Dr. Mosconi, who also has a book coming out and a website, she's Italian. So her grandmother was one of 4 kids. The grandmother, all of her sisters got Alzheimer's. The brother did not.
Yeah.
Twice as many women are likely to get
Two-thirds of Alzheimer's sufferers are women.
Thank you for noting that. Yes. So
I'm sitting next to one.
So I mentioned Marie Shriver. She has this Women's Alzheimer Movement, WAM, even though her father had it. You know, Sergeant Shriver. He got it, but a lot of women get this. And I thought it was interesting that you see so many women, and then they talk about the brain scans and all that. We're not going to get into that. But I also wanted to mention Liz Applegate in her video, her TED Talk, which I love this part. You don't have to agree with all of it, which I didn't, but I did get some gems from it. The late Bruce Lee often quoted, take what is useful and reject what you can't use. Always remember, no one person has all the knowledge, especially doctors. Do independent research and eating a lot of fruits, vegetables, avoiding all sugars, white flours. But
everybody says that.
Everybody says, and that's why some things I love Sherzai's, but they use a little oil in their cooking, and I don't.
Right, and same with me.
Exactly. Right. Medical Medium, who you know I love, who has a new book being released today, he also has some research on Alzheimer's. Research presented at the Alzheimer's Association International Conference in London last year, this was 2019 study, so in 2018, further proved the power of plant-based foods. It found that people who follow a diet largely composed of vegan and vegetarian food can lower their risk of dementia and Alzheimer's by at least 1/3.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Dr. Greger has his
that's
research.
My favorite. Yes.
I know,
Doctor. We're going to get to.
Do you want to go to Dr. Greger?
No.
Are you sure?
No,
okay.
No, you tell him.
Dr. Greger, and I have the link here. He says numerous studies have shown that Alzheimer is more a disease of lifestyle than genetics.
Yes.
So sometimes you'll hear that story. Oh, really? My dog got the same disease that I had. That's because you were feeding the dog the same thing that you were eating, just shoving the table scraps there. Okay, so, and there's back to Greger, and there's an emerging consensus that the same foods that clog our arteries can also clog our brains. Right, that's Dr. Greger. The prevalence, Dr. Greger continuing, the prevalence of Alzheimer's has shot up over the past few decades, which is thought to be in part due to the shift from primarily and traditionally a rice and vegetable-based diet to one of featuring triple the amount of dairy intake and 6 times the amount of meat.
Right.
And a lot of that has to do with processed food. Do you want to talk and say anything about Dr. Greger? Or should I?
No.
Okay.
Well, Dr. Greger and Dean
Sherzai
are now my favorite people.
And that'll change next week.
No, it won't.
What happened to me? I thought Dottie and I worked there.
I refuse to answer the grounds that may tend to incriminate me. because Doctor, in the video that we watched, the 2-hour video, every time Dean Sherzai says, you have to say the best possible evidence says.
Yes.
You can't make these statements. The best evidence we have now. Science has always should always have the ability to change its mind. So, and if you look at Dr. Greger, he never will give you an opinion. He says, this is what the data shows. This is what the recent
data shows. He likes to use research data.
So that's what I hang my hat on, those two guys.
Okay, then I'll give you one more quote since you love Dr. Greger. The longer meat is avoided, the lower the risk may fall. So yes, okay.
On everything, heart disease.
This happens to be on Alzheimer's because that's our subject, but that's true with everything.
Right.
For example, compared with those who eat meat more than 4 times a week, which driving around, I told you earlier, the lines for Chick-fil-A, the lines for In-N-Out, I'm like, are you kidding me, people?
I used to think chicken was healthy. It's not. Now I
Even
know.
if you take the skin off, it's not.
Right.
For example, compared with those who eat meat more than 4 times a week, the dementia risk of people who have consumed vegetarian diets for 30 years or more is 3 times lower.
Yeah.
I love that. The Forbes has a great article featuring Dr. Barnard about foods that boost your brain. So I have the link to that.
Yes,
I think I sent it to you, but
did.
okay. And my favorite saying now, bad for the heart, bad for the brain. I want that bumper sticker. You can make a graphic like that. Okay. So the reason I mentioned all these other resources is so that you will have a better base, a better foundation, knowing that we didn't just take our research from one book or we're going to hang our hat on this one book. There's so much research now.
Right. Absolutely.
We have the Sherzais, we have Dr. Mosconi, we have Dean Ornish, Dr. Barnard, Dr. Greger, of course.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So the Sherzais, everyone uses an acronym. This new book coming out, Fiber Fueled, which I can't wait to. I know, I'm getting off subject, but my point is he has an acronym. Dr. Furman has his acronym.
Right.
Sherzais, they have an acronym.
Neuro.
And I love that because they're neurologists,
Very nice.
so they use neuro. You want to explain what neuro is?
No, I don't, but you're going to have me do it. I got to find the paper it's on.
Do you want to use my computer?
Oh, yes, I don't need to. I can use my own. Yes,
Okay.
Neuro, that's right. Nutrition, exercise, unwind, restore, and optimize. And he talks about each one of these, and as he talks about it, it isn't just one. It isn't just the nutrition. If you're not doing any exercise, if you're under a lot of stress, 100% eating the right nutrition won't fix it. Conversely, if you have no stress in your life, do everything else right, and you're eating badly, that won't help it. And what I like about the title of his book is
Their book.
Excuse me, you're right.
Put the other Dr. Sherzai in there. Thank you.
A breakthrough program to prevent and reverse, and that's what saved my life on Esselstyn's book. It was prevent and reverse. So
Prevent and reverse.
you know somebody that and you probably do. I've known 3 people in my life that have passed away because of it. They were all men though, which is interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
I don't know any women that have Alzheimer's.
I know about 5.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Well, you know more people than I do.
One was my grandmother's sister, so my great aunt, and I've heard the therapist will say, if you know one Alzheimer's patient, you know one Alzheimer's patient, because they're all so different.
They are.
In the way, yeah.
Yes.
So my grandmother's sister, she was, like the happiest Alzheimer patient I've ever seen.
Yes.
Everything was a new day.
my
She
brother-in-law
always
was
thought
that
I
way.
was the mother
Yes.
instead
And
of the
they're
daughter.
happy, they're friendly people, and some are nasty.
Yeah, well, exactly. So
Yeah.
that's why if you know one, you know one. So
Okay.
you were going to give us some highlights of
Okay,
rituals, but
I will. Oh yeah, let me give
Okay.
you some of the things that I got out of this. We've already mentioned that Alzheimer is the 6th leading cause of death, perhaps 3 because it's underreported. Before this book came out, a couple of years ago, wasn't that long, there was no treatment. That you had it was a death sentence. And there was no treatment. You couldn't give anybody pill. You gave them a pill, but it was just temporarily stopped the decline. It really didn't help.
And I liked the video, one of the videos I watched that said the first Alzheimer patient was in 1906. Basically, nothing's been done.
Done.
Yes.
Nothing.
Right. So that's why when you mentioned that.
The research before these guys came along was reductionist. They would just take one part. We'll try a pill. We'll try this. Now, here's what I found interesting. The brain is only 3% of the body, but it takes 25%, a quarter of the energy the body needs. Now, that was a thing. Now, the other one that again, I'm the data guy.
You're the scientist.
No, the data. The major cause of depression is inflammation. And the major cause of inflammation is all of the bad food that we eat. All right, the highest risk of someone to getting Alzheimer is someone that had a very complex job, that had a lot of balls to juggle, keep in the air. When they retire, they go from not using their brain at all. And I had this when I first retired, not as much as some other people because I never worked that hard, but that I found, and that's probably why the people that I knew more men, because they went from a very complex job to another one.
And that's kind of a way that they mentioned, Dr. Mosconi mentions as far as women, when they go through menopause, that's right about the time when their whole life is changing. So they were busy with kids and busy with this and busy with that, and then all of a sudden, same sort of thing with retirement. That was just kind of, okay, sort of go ahead.
And the thing that I found positive, I like to end on a positive note.
Yes.
It's not the number of cells in your brains that has to do with your cognitive ability. It's the number of connections, and the connections can grow. You can actually increase the connections by doing some of the things in the neural program. And even if you are, the genetics in this case can say, yes, you're going to get Alzheimer's, but if you can delay it, instead of getting it in your early 60s, you can get it in your early 90s. And that, to me, is positive. And I think we've got to come close to wrap this up.
I think we're wrapping it up. Do you have takeaway from this session? Do you want to?
That was my takeaway.
That's your takeaway?
Yes.
My takeaway, of course, is much shorter because I get to the point. My takeaway is bad for the heart, bad for the brain.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
We'll see you next time.
Now wait, we got to do the tips.
Oh yeah, you do your tip.
My tip is my wholesome oat snacks that Dottie made. They're really quite good. They're just oat balls is what we call them, and that's not sexist. And so I will put the recipe for that on the internet. And so you want to wrap this up.
Let me give you my tip.
Okay.
Eat a pineapple. Let's
go.
pretend we're in Maui.
They are good, yes.
I know. I went to the acupuncturist yesterday, and she goes, your lips are broken out on the side. I go, well, I've been eating about 1 pineapple a day for the last week. She goes, okay, way too much. Cut down on the pineapple. Drink more water. So I'll say, okay, 1 pineapple every 2 days.
There you go.
And more water. We'll see you next time. We love you.
Keep those cards and letters coming.
Keep those emails, and we don't have Twitter, so I can't say Twitter.
No.
Keep those emails and comments coming. All right, we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.